What's up, everyone, and welcome into the latest episode where it is my honor and privilege to introduce a two-time national champion and Ferris State quarterback, Chase Carter. How are you doing, Chase? How does it feel to not only be a one-time, but now back-to-back national champions?
Feels great, especially this year being able to contribute more to the offense. It's a huge relief, I guess, to be able to say I'm a national champion.
Now that you're obviously coming off of your second national championship, has it settled in a little bit more now that you've kind of experienced one last year, or is it still kind of surreal a little bit knowing that you guys just won on Saturday?
It is a little bit surreal, but at the same time, it's almost like we had that expectation and we lived up to it. So it's more like we're proud of ourselves, but that it's very grounded reality that we were able to accomplish through hard work and discipline, more so making a dream come true as far as I see it.
Yeah, basically that's kind of the expectations for you guys going into this year was win a national championship. I talked about it. I basically said at the very beginning, I'm like, Ferris State's going to roll through everyone that you guys are going to win a national championship. But obviously, the full season has to play out a little bit. But this past national championship was a little bit of maybe like a unique one for you, or maybe one that means a little bit more because I know there was an article back in October written by Sandy Golston that you talked about that you suffered a torn labrum last year against Harding. What did playing in this national championship mean to you, especially going up against a team that you tore your labrum last year?
Yeah, so last year when I was kind of doing relief work for Trinidad, once he got the game out of hand, and I was just kind of wanting to finish the game, and I went in one play, ran bounced it out, and barely even got touched. Really, it wasn't a dirty hit or anything. Just and my shoulder fell right out of the place. So it just kind of was a unfortunate scenario, and I tore my labrum. I ended up having to get surgery in January, so I spent all spring recovering for that and all summer kind of getting back in shape for the season. And I'm really just glad overall that I was able to work myself back into a role on the team where I could contribute to a national championship victory nonetheless. So as far as that, I'm just proud that I was able to work myself back in the way that I did. And then obviously it was sweet to win against Harding in the national championship. Obviously, being the number two team in the country, it was a very hyped up matchup. But again, for me personally, I didn't really get to contribute as much to beating them last year or winning the national championship in general because of my injury.
Yeah.
So I was just glad to be able to play a bigger part into this year.
Yeah, I was just going to say you played a pretty big part in the game. I believe you were the leading rusher at a 64-yard touchdown as well early on in the second half. So it had to be really fun, not only to obviously have that, but like you said, contribute, but also had a great year as well. You had over 900 yards throwing the ball, over 1,100 yards rushing the ball. What was unique about this Harding team that you guys went up against? Because you mentioned number two team in the country going into the game. They're the number one defense in the country. They allowed basically 10 points a game. And I don't want to say you guys made Harding look pretty okay, but offensively, you guys just did exactly what you've done all year.
Well, yeah, they were. You could tell they were a very well coached team, and um, they had a lot of effort. On film, you could see how they ran to the ball,
Yeah.
how they um, did their jobs, did their 111, as people say. So we knew we had to play really disciplined football. Um, just got to hats off to our offensive coaches, TA obviously, and his son Steve, the OC,
Yeah.
and everybody that went into it, putting together a really, really good game plan. And then obviously the nasty boys up front being able to execute
Yeah.
their part, dominating the line of scrimmage, and the receivers making plays, Wyatt for getting them the ball.
Yeah.
And then really when my name was called, just protecting the ball and being able to do what I do, which is make plays with my feet. Um, yeah, when I have so many great pieces around me, it makes my job so much easier to to just go and have fun.
Exactly. And you talked about those nasty boys up front. How fun is it having those guys black for you? Because I don't think it's remotely even close of any other offensive line in the country in Division Two. I think they are by far. And I think not only in this game they showed it, but throughout the year they showed it as well. Gotta shout out Coach Byrne. I know he follows the podcast, so I know he does great work over there.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail. I said I think it was a Davenport game. Someone asked. It might have been before that, but they're easily, I mean, in my opinion, the best in the country. It's so much fun playing with them. Not even just playing with them, but just being around them outside of football. I could hang with them any day of the week, and they will always make me feel welcome around them. So I really appreciate the men that they are first and foremost, and then that just makes it so much more fun to play with them, and you know, I mean, just felt like I could do anything behind them, and that's kind of what we did
Yeah.
on Saturday. And yeah, when you got an O line like that, the game gets real fun.
Yeah, basically because not only are you going to be protecting the pocket whenever you have your throw, but I'm assuming when you see these big seams that the offensive line creates, and especially with your speed as well, it's one of those situations where you're like, if I hit this hole and there's no one in the secondary, I'm gone. And obviously the 64-yard touchdown run that you had obviously proved that as well. But I also know you were a little injured with the toe injury coming off of Minnesota State. Was there any chance in the world you would not play in this game, or were you going to play in this game no matter what?
I was for sure playing as much as the coaches would let me. Obviously, I understand that they have to do what they feel is best for the team. And, if they felt like that I wasn't good enough to go, then I would have respected that. But they obviously felt like, I was still fast enough to make some plays, and gladly I was. So, I mean, I was ready to go no matter what. Like I said, I think they had a great game plan for all the quarterbacks that played. Um, and I was just glad to be able to do my part. I couldn't really think about my toe. Yeah, it
Yeah.
hurt. It hurt, but it feels a whole lot better now. I'll tell you that.
I was just going to say during the game, you probably didn't feel it whatsoever, even when you had the 64-yard touchdown run. Like, that's probably the last thing on your mind is you're like, I'm just going to go score and I'm going to help this team out.
Yeah, I couldn't think about it at all. As soon as I start my cadence, it was not a thought in my mind. But once you get to the sideline, it kind of you get reminded of it a little bit. But you know, when I'm running out there and I'm seeing these guys and they got the looks on their faces that, we need to score here. We need to put this team away. And, I'm out there and I gotta lead this team to that goal. I
Yeah.
can't really I can't really think about a toe. I just gotta do my job and execute.
Exactly. And you also mentioned prior that you had a bunch of weapons around you. You had guys like Carson Gulker, you had guys like Bray Rose, you have Tariq Brett, you have Cam Underwood around you as well. Are those type of pieces, those guys, the offensive line, the play calling, is that what makes the offense so fun to run? Just kind of not only the game plan, but kind of like the pieces around you guys, because you guys average 40 plus points a game, and it might not necessarily been like the most like out there like type offense. Like you're not necessarily running a ton of trick plays. Like you're not throwing a ton of bombs. Like it's just a lot of running hard nosed football, getting to the edge and continuing to grind the other team until you just fill big holes.
Yeah, I mean, we were still able to take some shots this year, especially in the playoffs to Cam Underwood and Tay, and
Yeah,
throw the ball downfield some. But when it came to it, we knew what our identity was. We knew that who we were behind, which is the Nasty Boys, and that we could lean on them to really put teams away with the run game. But man, our receiver core, our skill guys did such a great job this year, making plays. Like I said, Cam Underwood's catch was phenomenal.
yeah.
Tariq was great all season. I don't even know how many all-purpose yards and touchdowns he had. He was huge. Um, Brady Rose, not enough can be said about him. Four natties, can do everything,
Yeah.
and then just not enough can be said about them. And on top of that, they were great blockers as well. Um, just they really opened up a lot of stuff down the field. The Nasty Boys took care of the line of scrimmage, but I know my runs included, we were able to really take it all the way because our receivers did a great job blocking down the field. So that opened up a lot of even bigger plays that might not have been there had they not given that effort.
Yeah, and that's the really cool thing about this Ferris State team, and I want to kind of get into a little bit more, is it truly seems like as much talent as you guys have, which you guys have a ton of talent. I don't think there's any question whatsoever. I think there's even guys that came back to Ferris that had the possibility of going elsewhere. And I do want to talk a little bit about like just like the connectivity-ness, like the chemistry, stuff like that, just like of how like connected this team is, but it truly seems like this is a very selfless team. It seems like whoever has an opportunity is going to step up. They're going to do the right things. They're going to do the small things. Is that truly what kind of makes Ferris State different compared to other programs? Like, I'm not saying there's not selfless players on other programs, but you guys are incredibly talented, but also at the same time, like, it truly seems like it's almost like a brotherhood at Ferris State. Like, everyone's going to be willing to do anything for each other. And adding that onto the talent is a big reason why you guys have won 4 out of the last 5 national championships.
Yeah, I've seen a few people online, players and reporters and so and so talk about just how much this team really loves each other, and you can see that watching the game and how we can. So people say outlove the opponents, um, and I think that is very much true. This team really, at least me personally, they really rallied behind me. They showed so much support and so much belief in me, and that just elevated my game. So I know that definitely goes for a lot of other people on the team, on the offense and defense, special teams,
Yeah.
scout team. Everybody here wants to do good, not only for themselves but for each other. And the result is, you can see the results for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And speaking of kind of that love for each other, you guys had a unique room this year at the quarterback room. It was you, Wyatt Bauer, Carson Golker coming back from injury, just like you did last year. You mentioned kind of that quarterback room a little bit in that article as well, and you basically just said it's a great group of guys. The success for any of these guys is no surprise to me. We're giving our best, coaching each other and learning from each other. We're blessed to have such a really great environment. How does kind of the environment, really the love for each other that you guys had at the quarterback room, helped each of you guys succeed as much as you did? Because nowadays in college athletics, a lot of people might say like, "Hey, like I could go like elsewhere," or like, "Hey, like I don't want to split time," stuff like that. But that's not what's happening for you guys. Like, why is that? Because what you guys did this year is just unusual for college athletics nowadays.
Well, I can't speak for any other player or program, but like I said in that interview in times past, it's true, man. Our quarterback room is a great group of guys. Um, we can text, talk, hang out, whatever, and just feel welcome, feel comfortable. We can really be ourselves, and I think it just allows us to have so much fun playing the game. Um, you know, I really enjoy watching Wyatt do good, and I know he enjoys watching me score and run big touchdowns. And we both just love seeing Carson, come back from an injury and do what he did this year. And um, yeah, I mean, it's just it's unbelievable just how blessed I am to be a part of a quarterback room like that. Yeah, I can't speak for other programs, but yeah, it really is special. What we were able to do this year and kind of just the culture of Ferris State quarterback room in general.
Do you think that culture truly starts at the top with Coach Annese, just kind of like the culture he's like formed at Ferris State? Because in my opinion, I don't even think it's close. I think he is by far the best coach in Division Two, and I think you could argue one of the best, if not the best, coaches in the whole state of Michigan. And I don't think he gets enough love for the job he has done at Ferris State. And I believe he was hired exactly maybe 14 or 15 years ago today, which is kind of crazy as well.
Yeah, I just saw that interview. I think it was yeah, I think it was 14, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely done a great job with this program ever since I've been here. They've done a really good job of creating an environment where everybody feels, like I said, they feel welcome and they feel like they have a really good support group around them within the team. And then, also with the president of the school, Dr. Ping, he does a great job. The AD, a lot of people around them who want them to succeed. And yeah, I mean, I think that all just falls back on the players. We all feel like we're at a place where we want each other to do well on and off the field, and that just makes us just want to be there for each other more and want to win for each other more.
Yeah, and obviously that's kind of led to the results that you guys have. And before I kind of wrap up here shortly, I do want to kind of put you on the spot a little bit. Is there a story or two that you can tell a little bit about Coach Annese from this last year that you have a specific memory of?
Let's see. Man, you did put me on the spot.
I'm putting you on the hot seat a little bit. It could be any story, or it could be even a story of when you first got to Ferris State as well. Just any story that you think would not only be would be funny, or just any story that truly kind of tells you a little bit of who Coach Annese is or what it's like to play for him.
Um, I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but when we came on my visit, my younger brother who plays for Florida International now, he came with me, and Coach Annese played pickleball against us, 1 versus 2. And we don't have a really big background in pickleball,
Okay.
so he was flying up and down the court. I mean, just killing us, and you could really see his competitive spirit in that game. I don't remember the exact score, but it's not what you expect from a 1 versus 2 pickleball match with two,
Yeah.
high level athletes versus a 60-year-old. So, that was definitely a funny experience. But even in just that game, you could see he does not like to lose. So, yeah, that's a funny TA story for sure.
I was just gonna say I would be shocked if Coach Annese had ever liked to lose on anything in life at all like that. That does not surprise me whatsoever how competitive he is.
Oh, yeah, no, he he's a winner and he recruits winners. That's another thing about before. Um, he recruits guys that come from good high school programs and that were leaders on their programs and were really good players and they won games and they come here to win games. So yeah, it shows. He's a winner and he likes to
Yeah.
bring in winners.
Yeah, and the one funniest thing I've always see every single year is he always tweets something out like in the middle of the playoff run, and he's saying, "Hey, we're too busy right now for you recruits. We're on our way to in the playoffs. We're continuing to advance. We'll contact you a little bit later." I honestly think that is maybe the greatest recruiting pitch I've ever seen. It's just saying, "Oh, we'll get to you eventually. Just let us win 4 of the last 5 national championships, and we'll call you back at some point." I think that's the greatest recruiting pitch I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if he ever used that pitch on you, but if he used that pitch on me, I'm like, where do I sign for Ferris State?
Yeah, it speaks for itself.
Yeah,
It makes your job a whole lot easier.
exactly. But yeah, you had a great year. I'll kind of wrap up with 2 last questions. Over 900 yards throwing the ball, 1,100 yards running the ball. Coming off of that season, what are some of your future like goals at Ferris State football wise? Because I know you have track season coming up here as well.
Yeah, so right now I'm really focused on getting healthy, trying to figure out exactly what's going on with my toe. I've heard, some people say turf toe, some people just say it's more of a sprain. Um, so I'm gonna really work on that and try to get completely healthy. And then, yeah, like you said, it's on a track season. I didn't get to run last year because of the surgery, so I'm really excited for it this year. And school wise, I'm supposed to graduate in May.
Okay.
So I'm really locked in on that, and I'm glad to have a really good support group around me, people who want to see me do that. Um, so yeah, that's really exciting, and then do it all again.
Hopefully go back to back next year is I'm sure going to be the goal again for next year, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and I think you could ask anybody returning, they'll probably say the same thing. Let's do it again, just like they
It,
said. They said it last year, and we made it happen.
exactly. And obviously with the coaching staff, with the guys you have returning, I'm sure it'll be right there again next year. But really appreciate you joining, man. It's been a lot of fun. I know that life has been pretty busy for you recently, obviously just coming off of the national championship. Hopefully you're able to finally spend some time with family. Hopefully you enjoy the holidays. Have a great holidays. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's as well. And go ball out on the track this year. I'm sure you'll be running not only extremely fast, but competing very well again. So have fun this year. Hope things go well for you at track. And hopefully we'll be seeing you back on the football diamond next year, repping the number 3 for Ferris State, looking to go to win another national championship.
Sir, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that is a wrap to this episode. Thank you again to Chase for joining, and tune in to the next episode.